So I'm Seth with According to Seth. I'm joined by writer-director Ian Ebright, actors Patrick Fabian, Diana Coconubo, and Kailey Rhodes. I'm sorry if I messed up any of your names. How are you all doing today?
We're doing great.
Fantastic. Thanks for having us.
Of course. I'm really excited to talk about The Way We Speak. I really love the movie. I just finished it a few hours ago, so
Nice.
um go ahead.
Thanks for watching. I love it.
Of course. One of the first things I wanted to ask is, Kailey, your character, Sarah, brings up during one scene how Simon has stage fright and asks how he got over it. So I wanted to know from each of you, what is one way that you each combat stage fright? And because I know you have like press tours and interviews, things like that.
I'll go first. I do get stage fright, but it's more like I get this like mania. Like I get very energized and kind of I leave myself and I become the projection, the hologram of Kailey rather than the real Kailey.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to like remember that there is safety in being yourself because it's offering safety to everybody else and we're all the same, like at the core. So it's a little woo-woo, a little meditative, but trying to just remember that like you're just Seth, you're a guy with movie posters and a dog. Like we can relax.
I love that answer.
That's much more meditative than me. I'm crazy and I like to pound caffeine and then I shake myself and I dance like a monkey and then I breathe and I breathe and I breathe and I go, okay, it's gonna be okay. I mean, I was just auditioning in this living room earlier today, and you would have thought I had never auditioned after 30 years.
I know.
I was like, like I was waiting for the Zoom to come on, and I was like, I'm like, what is wrong with you? No way for an adult man to try and make a living, and yet I was like, whoo! And then when the thing came on, I was like, I was kind of exhausted. I kind of run myself out. So I was like, all right, what are we gonna do? Because I know how to talk and listen for the most part. So that's not very
How'd it go?
D, I don't want to talk about it. D, what about you?
That's funny. That's funny. I think for me, well, it was kind of an ongoing joke, but I love these yerba mates. So
Yes, you do.
Have
He does.
caffeine yerba mate because the days are long, as we all know. And at least for me in this film, you know, I was totally out of my element, staying in an Airbnb, which was really, really cute in Portland, which I fell in love with. But I remember production being like, is there anything you need? And I was like, I need a yoga studio, something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that for me is really grounding, just to have a place to move my body, move that energy. And then I mean, when you're working with such amazing collaborators, it really made the job so much less stressful in an already naturally stressful environment.
Yeah. That yerba mate stuff, by the way, is so strong. I can't drink it. It gets me all haywired.
Anxiety in a cup.
Yep. I don't know why. Coffee I'm fine with, but the yerba mate, can't do it.
Well, I'm Colombian, so I mean, you know, it's kind of like probably, you know, it's South America.
It's not in the background of one of the shots in the final film because it was like it's Dee's prop, like it's never far. So like that it's not like, you know, under a table or something is amazing because it was always within reach.
Yep. What about you, Ian? Did you have any ways to combat stage fright or anxiety?
No, I mean I have it easy, right? I'm not an actor. This is part of what's the built-in advantage for me is, you know, guy who's, you know, 45 involved with body issues. I'm like, oh cool, I'm not on camera. So I can deal with those on my own.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Honestly, like, you know, I've said this, auditions are weird in that they're terrifying because you're rating off of a performance, and then you're fortunate to arrive in a town. I'm also not from Portland, but we shot there because of the tax incentive. I'm up in Seattle, but like, so you're all out of your element, and then there are people that you want to be around. That's such like a miracle, and that's my yoga. You know, just these three are other leads, like being around people that are like, oh, I don't know, we can give and take, and it's not weird and territorial, you know. And you get one person in the mix who has that kind of corrosive personality, and all bets are off. So I find that genuinely people like Patrick and Deanna and Kailey are my anti-stage fright. I'm like, you know, good people make you feel better at your job. I felt the same way about our DP. So it's like, oh, I don't know, let's try and fail, and who cares? Because we all got each other's back.
Yep, that's amazing. I love all these answers. um, After losing George and dealing with his wife's cancer, Simon kind of goes down this like spiral and doesn't really know how to handle what's happening around him. Everyone deals with loss and trauma differently. So how difficult is it to write a character like that, Ian? And how do you, as an actor, Patrick, kind of bring out that complexity?
Oh, Patrick, I'm more interested in your answer, so I'll be quick. I mean, writing it, there's memes with Timothy Dalton, right? And like a writer writing about a writer, you're basically just writing yourself. I mean, yeah, it would be naive of me to act like my experience is not in this film in certain ways. I mean, hopefully I'm also a writer with some imagination and I can flip things and put things on Claire that maybe would be on me in my own marriage. But ultimately, I relate to learning all of the lessons the wrong way, or learning all the lessons the hard way, which is another way of saying, you know, the pain of life happening, and then you sort of medicate and lean into your vices or your weaknesses or shortcomings. So it's not a glamorous answer because it implicates me, but yeah, that stuff's easy to pull from because it's there in my history.
You know, and the idea of like playing loss, it's like playing happiness or playing promotions or playing death or injury or whatnot. And, it's part of the deal. Like, right. Can you pretend? Can you act? And I don't mean that in like, look at me, I can act, but it is like, it's the pretending part, like the lived in experiences. You do your homework as an actor and you figure out what is what. But in terms of loss, I'm not a one-to-one sort of person. I mean, I've certainly done Meisner technique and stuff like that. Like, let's talk about my dog that left me. Doesn't really work for me, that substitution for the most part. However, there are things you can quickly sort of plug into on the switchboard of work, right? And I go like, oh, I've lived a life. I'm of a certain age. David Bowie is dead. God took David Bowie. I guess I'm on that list. And when you wake up and you read the obits, you're like, oh, my youth is gone. Oh, it's been 40 years since high school. Those are quiet, profound moments that are lost where you go, oh. And that can relate to George and mentoring and stuff. Or you can even just go, I mean, here's a quick substitution. I never had a mentor like George. Poor me. You know what I'm saying? And you go off with that, and you take that little thing and you really just pick at it. This is the minutia of this one particular actor, right? And then you expand it, and then you blame and you point out the other people, and then you go from there.
I like that. Diana, your character is the one battling cancer, and I thought you did just a fantastic job. You're going through such a difficult time, and you remain like so positive and supportive of Patrick. As somebody who lost their mom to cancer and seeing like firsthand how resilient people can be, what was the biggest challenge of tackling that role?
This exact moment.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Thank you. I know it's hard to come up with questions. It hit me, but I thought it would be a good question to ask.
Yeah. I think, well, you can only really rely on your imagination in a way, I also, my roommate battled cancer right here alongside me in our 2-bedroom apartment in Venice. So, and she's well, but I think that experience was helpful, and then as an actor, you're also, we really, I think we're careful, Ian, to not really play the cancer, but it's something that I hope I captured in any kind of way, because it's such
you
a
definitely
real
did.
Many people. So I appreciate you saying that, because
Of
I
course.
was scared of that.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a tough subject to breach, and I thought you did a great job, and that's why I wanted to ask that, because it's like it's hard to see somebody go through that, but like seeing the positivity of somebody when they do go through that, it's just crazy to see how, like, with everything going on, how people stay positive,
Yeah, and I think on a personal level, my roommate really was always positive. There were down days, the days where she just had chemo and she's down, but her positivity and her, it's interesting because she said, this is not the end of my story. This is not how my story ends. But in a sense, Claire, I think, is, because of her experience, her knowledge, her background, she's a doctor, she knows the reality, the truth, and then just a sort of a resignation, but a hopeful one. I just want to be at peace. Yeah.
Yeah. That's perfect. And there was another thing that stuck with me too, is the poem where you were wanting to feel seen, and there's so many distractions these days, and we're always constantly glued to our phone. So one of the things I wanted to ask each of you is, how do you try and stay grounded and present for those around you when you're with them? And we can start with you, Kailey.
I put my fucking phone away.
Yeah. Perfect
Um,
answer.
What a great question and great observation. I would like to plug a book that I'm reading that I think is like a little scaremongery, but it's fine. It's called Stolen Focus by Johann Hari, and it talks about like research into why ADHD is on the rise and why we have so much trouble sleeping, and all the way back from like the invention of the light bulb, but now this like perpetual slot machine in our pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And so for my birthday this year, I got something called Brick, which is a little thing that you put on your fridge, and it has an app on your phone, and you can customize which apps you can like turn off, and it's a localized lock, so you have to go to the Brick to unlock it. And my whole household uses it now. And my husband and I have been talking about trying to have parties where we're like, you can bring anything but you have to leave your phone in your car. And we talk about it a lot, and we're not sure how people would respond, and everyone would respond differently. So
That's awesome.
I
Patrick?
like that idea. I have kids. They don't have phones yet. They're 11 and 13, but we're getting to that point where everybody else has phones. And I'm like, yeah, you can get a phone in college. It does so much damage. It's terrible to me. I know that, and I'm supposed to know better. So the idea of like just it's the simple things. Don't bring it to the table. Don't put it on the table if you're going out to dinner. It sends a signal that this is more important than anything else, which unfortunately it becomes. I'm an addict, so that thing is just.
Yeah, it's part of our blood.
Yeah.
Anna?
Yeah. So I made a choice earlier on this year just to not deactivate my Instagram, but I do not have it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably the best thing I've honestly ever done. And, it's tough because people are like, well, but how are you communicating?
Yeah.
I'm like, you call me, you can literally call me or text me. Now, obviously from a business perspective, it's challenging because as an actor and, as a brand, it's part of the job and, promoting the way we speak, et cetera, et cetera. But I do not need it in my life every single day. It is so detrimental to my health. And really leaning into books has been helpful to quote unquote fill the time, but really
get your time back.
Getting outside, I don't know, doing stuff for me. It's so easy just to like not do it when it's not there. But because we are so addicted, if it's on your phone, you're going to open it. It is the way that they made it, and it works. They did a good job.
Somebody, a few people got a house on a lake. This technology, like many people got vacation homes wealthy off of that, which is great. But I'm with Kailey. I wrote down Brick. I got to get that. I have Minimalist app, which is it's a little less invasive, but I think yours is actually better, Kailey. But yeah, it just like strips my phone down, and it's freaky. I mean, we have kids, and even the dogs know, which is weird. It just seems like distraction is really evident between like living things, So with kids with their words, or dogs which are not speaking are like telling you that you kind of suck as a human being. It's really embarrassing. So yeah, I'm big into just less. I used to love being on the computer, and now I'm like, I don't know, just less screens. So phone goes away, minimalist phone app for me. And I'm with D. It's like I'm unfortunately very late to getting into books, but like books and outside I could quantify how different my moods are. Like it's almost prescriptive. Like I just need to be not so lazy that I let it slip, because getting that.
What they ought to do is what they really ought to do is stream The Way We Speak on VOD July 20th on all platforms.
I feel you on the dog too, because mine slaps my phone out of my hand. But I have one last question for you all here. When Claire and Simon are having the argument where Simon states that he's still doing the debate, because he wants you to see him succeed. So the one thing I want to know is, what is one thing that each of you would like to achieve this year, or something that like a fear that you would like to try to overcome?
These are great questions, by the way, Seth.
These are great
Thank
questions.
you.
They're so fun.
Cool.
I appreciate it. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to get my next feature funded, and that is both exciting and terrifying because we need millions of dollars. And then my back has sucked this year. I just went to PT this morning, physical therapy, and I love to ride motorcycles, and it's putting that in jeopardy. So if I get a long motorcycle ride up through Canada and get my back to a place where I can do it, and then get a film funded, which, like, saying that like it's crossing the street, but those would be two things I'd like to do.
I like that.
Oh, fear of not working again. It's been with me since the very first job, of course. It's always there. It's always present. It's kind of like you were talking about, what do you do about nerves? I don't know. Do we believe that Olivia used to throw up before going on stage? Yeah, we do, because it kind of makes sense. And so in the same idea, I'm just like, oh, am I ever going to get over thinking I'm never going to work again? And the sooner I accept, no, I'm not going to, then I think the better it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that last night to Tracy. I said, I just hope I get to do it again. I hope I get to play again. That's it.
Yeah. Job security seems to be the common theme. Kailey, what about you?
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, we want to be in movies because acting's a bad word for what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't acting. We are in it, and we're telling stories, and we're making people who watch them see themselves. And it's literally like these little tendrils of reminding all of us that we're all telling the same story over and over again. And so just wanting to be in it.
Perfect. Well, it was so great speaking with all of you today. Wish we had more time, but thank you so much for answering all the great questions, and hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening.
You
Thanks,
are
Steph.
just incredible.
Great questions.
Thanks, Steph. Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
Best questions award.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes me happy.
Thanks again.